Warner definitely has little man syndrome. Confirmed. He's like, but I love you. But she doesn't love him. And he's also being an
2 hours later.
Warner. Ooh, Warner. I'm a Warner girly. I am a Warner girly. It did not take long. Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. I like to post about books and music, mostly Taylor Swift. Today I'm doing a reading vlog of the Shatter Me series. I literally just finished Throne of Glass earlier this week, and by the time you're watching this, that reading vlog will be up. So go check that out if you haven't already. But overall, spoiler, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I really enjoyed the writing style, but I was trudging through some of those thick-ass books. That was definitely very high fantasy, very POV switching, and okay, I have to be honest with you, I kind of cheated. I'm already a little bit of the way through the first book in the Shatter Me series. This is probably going to be a long video, so I'm just going to get right into it. This will be full spoilers because this book series has been out for a very long time. It's supposedly a fast, easy read, so most people probably already read this. I kind of struggled not putting any spoilers in the Throne of Glass video, so we're just gonna get right into this with this series. I was recommended this as a romantasy kind of dystopian series. I am on chapter 12 and it is definitely a romance first. It's so far a lot easier to get into and get through than Throne of Glass, so I think this is a really good series to follow Throne of Glass with. It's a romance first, a dystopian second, and a fantasy third. We've been introduced to our main character, Juliet, and she has some special powers that are destructive, but we don't know what those are. It hasn't really gotten into those yet. I'm very early in the book, obviously. Eventually, I assume we're going to get introduced to those, but it's mostly building up this dystopian world, but it's tricky, and we're really left in the dark here because Juliet is locked up for these powers that we know nothing about yet as the reader, and she's like in trouble. So she's locked up in this cell. She has been for I think a year now, and she doesn't really know what's going on. But before she got locked up, it was a crazy dictatorship. Like, I think it's set in the United States. It has completely devolved because of climate change, which is like sad to see that that was being written about in, when was this published? 2011? Yep, 2011 was when this came out, and it was kind of talking about this authoritarian regime that we have devolved into. I will be updating as I read, and yeah, I'm having a much easier time with this because it is first person POV. There's a few novellas, tiny books that have the love interest Warner, his POV. It's weird because they're setting me up for a completely different love interest right now, whose name is Adam, but everybody who's raving about this on TikTok is going on and on about this guy named Warren, who's actually shorter than me. So that should be interesting. We'll see if his personality makes up for any potential little man syndrome. He is giving big time little man syndrome right now. We were just introduced to him. This man has big time little man syndrome. We have Adam, who's like 6 foot something, and he seemed fine, but now he's like betraying her, and it's just been like a wild ride, and I'm barely even into it. Basically, they put Adam in her cell, and they were like, this is gonna be your new roommate, and she was assuming he got in trouble for something maybe similar to her, like maybe he has powers too, but it turns out he's one of the guards, and he was planted there as like a mole, and I guess he's supposed to find out more about her. She didn't want to reveal anything to him, and then Warner, what's his name? I think his first name is Aaron, but they call him Warner. He revealed to her that Adam was actually planted there. And Warner, he's just being an asshole right off the bat. We've only had a few pages with him, and I'm sick of him. Why is he talking to her like that? Okay, so we learn that Juliet's parents like don't give a shit about her, essentially. They were scared of her because of the special power, and now it's revealed to us what this power is. So she literally just hurts people. Like, when they touch her, they lose their hope, their life force, I guess, and it goes into her. Like, it makes her feel stronger and more capable, and it feels very good for her, but once they touch her, they can't let go until she breaks the connection. And then she calls herself a Venus flytrap, and she says she's lethal, so if someone holds on to her physically for long enough, they're gonna die. That's such a weird thing. I've never heard of that being the power in a fantasy book or dystopian. This is very much a mesh of genres here. Warner is still being such an asshole, and I'm so tired of him, but it's like, oh my god, the dialogue. I know we're where they're going with this, and I don't know if I like where we're going. So Juliet is talking about how Warner has these polarizing personalities. He's like really nice to her, and then he acts crazy and is an asshole. I have a prediction. Okay, so the authoritarian regime that's happening in this book is called the Reestablishment, and they're trying to eliminate all languages. They're trying to make everything into one homogenous state, essentially, like no more countries. It'll all just be like one ruling government under the entire world. My guess is that Warner is trying to get her to torture people for him because he's going to turn on the Reestablishment. Like, he wants to have a revolution. Maybe that's where we'll see some character development happening, because I don't understand how else this guy is redeemable. You know what I mean? He can't actually be working with the feds, and he can't be honest about what he actually wants to use her for, because obviously then he'll get in trouble. He has to like keep it as on the down low as possible. Like, the fewer people who know what he's really up to, the better. Warner definitely has little man syndrome. Confirmed. He just shot somebody in the face. He's giving tiny dictator, short little Putin. He's 5'9" and he's touchy about his mother. These are the makers of little man syndrome. It's officially gotten a little bit weird for me. Not because of the strike-throughs, not because of the repetition, but because of the alliteration. And listen, I am an alliteration girly through and through. It's the reason why I love Folklore by Taylor Swift so much, and Mirrorball, tallest tiptoes, highest heels. I eat that lyrical shit up. However, if you were describing a child in a grocery store who is on a leash with his mom holding the other end of it, you do not call him the leashed legacy of her loins. You do not. Unless you want your reader to have to stop for a minute and think about what the fuck they just read, that's not the way to do it. And I have proof. That definitely says leashed legacy of her loins. Sometimes it's just not necessary, you know? You can just not do that. It's better to just not have poetic devices. It's the next day. I've been sleeping a very long time, but we're about halfway done with the first book. She said she wants to be melting like butter down his body. She said she could eat every bit of this moment. This language is so strange. Adam just confessed his love for her. I feel like it's bullshit. I feel like we're gonna have like a redemption arc from Warner, and my cat won't stop talking. She thinks I'm talking to her. A redemption arc from Warner, and Adam's gonna get terrible. Because I don't see how else this could go. I fucking knew it. Okay, so Adam can touch her, and they just like made out for the first time. The next morning they're escaping. He's helping her get out, and Warner catches them, and he's like, you know, he's only using you to get out of here, right? Like, he doesn't actually love you. And then here's what I predicted, is that like Warner watched Adam touch Juliet, and he didn't die or like end up in pain. So he was like, wait, he can touch you? Has he touched you? And then Warner is like chasing down Juliet as she's climbing out the window. Adam's already on the ground, and he's gonna like catch her. And Warner touches her leg, and he's fine too. I swear to God, if it's just like that she hurts children, I'm gonna lose my mind. That's like horrible. What the hell? That's not even a good defense mechanism. I'm stressed for this girl. Adam is taking her to his house. Is he stupid? I feel like this is like the most predictable place. Like, you don't run to where you live or to someone you know if you're like running from the feds. So she's at his house. She meets his brother James, and she says, I didn't know you had a brother. And they supposedly have known each other since like elementary school, Juliet and Adam. She's like, I didn't know you had a brother. Why do I feel like this is a fake brother? Why do I feel like this is not actually his brother? Like, he's lying to her? Okay, so Juliet is actually not as dumb as I was afraid of. She was the first one to say, wouldn't Warner go looking for you here in your home? Supposedly Warner doesn't know where his home is, or like thinks that he has no home. But it's like going straight to his brother, if that's his brother. That puts his brother in danger, and the kid's literally 10. This is reckless. And also I feel like she's being bamboozled. Juliet's being bamboozled. As I said, some of the alliteration, poetic devices, metaphors tend to be a little bit strange, but this one is actually not that bad. She is like in the real world for the first time after being locked up for like a year, and she's confused by everything that's changed, like with climate change and like a reestablishment, all of these changes, and she's confused by this new thing that's not a microwave. It's called an automat, and like food supplies are so low that they're like using like fake food, kind of. That's what the automat does. It makes it like edible, and he says he'll explain more later. And she said, but I'm an encyclopedia with too many blank pages. That's kind of interesting. It's a lot better than Leash Legacy of Her Loins. So, according to Juliet, having tattoos is to be professionally painted. Professionally painted. Health insurance is a dream we lost a long time ago. Oh my God. Oh, what a nightmare though. You can't go to the doctor unless you have it, and even if you do have it, you probably can't go because of deductibles and copays. This is wild. I'm so sick of these military men. So this other military guy found Adam at his house. His name's Kenji, and now they have to leave because Kenji has the like tracer tracker serum in his blood, so Warner knows where they are now. Now they have to leave, but now Adam and Juliet have to take Adam's little brother James, but he's at school right now. They have to take him because like otherwise he's in danger now because he knows too much. Why did they go there in the first place? They literally were there for less than 24 hours. They thought they would be there for longer. They'd have a little time before they had to run again. Why drag the 10-year-old into this? 2 boys in less than 50 pages confessing their love for Juliet. Now it's got Warner. He's like, but I love you. But she doesn't love him. And he's also being an asshole. So this is just a mess. Okay, this is kind of a cool personification. She says she is cocooned in insanity. I think that's actually kind of interesting. You know, this author has a few shining moments. I still don't know if it redeems her from Leashed Legacy of Her Loins though. I'm sorry, but Warner's so fucking stupid. He literally like let Juliet kiss him and like get really close to him because she saw the gun on his person and was like, I'm gonna get this away from him. And he just like falls for it. Like, how stupid can you be? Like, she just said she absolutely hates you, and like then she sees the gun and she's all like lovey-dovey. Like, he didn't notice that? These people are so stupid. This book is really weird about food and eating. Like, she says she wants to eat every second of this moment. Warner said to her previously when she was taking the gun from him and kissing him and tricking him, he was like, I could just eat you or something. And now she's like rushing to get away with Adam, who's been shot by Warner. It's like really fast-paced, intense action. She says, I take a few bites of oxygen. You could have just said a few breaths. Like, why is this writing so weird? Yeah, if you watched my Throne of Glass vlog, you will know my opinions, but a lot of people complain about the first couple of books in Throne of Glass for being too juvenile or like not well written, but oh my god, that author had such a gift. And this one, I don't know, maybe she was also like 14 or 15 when she wrote this, and maybe she just hadn't honed her craft as much. That's gonna be really disappointing if this author actually started this series like in her 20s or something. But this is very, very young, like the entire voice. I honestly didn't notice any juvenile sort of writing in the early Throne of Glass books. I was like, if this is bad, like this is a pretty obvious gift for writing that she has so early in her life, but this is kind of rough. It's just kind of rough. I'm going to look it up now when she started this series, how old she was. I need to look up this author because some of this stuff is just nuts how it's written. It's kind of ridiculous. Adam says to Juliet, Warner's a lot of things, but he's not stupid. He literally let Juliet take the gun from him, but okay. Okay. Also, it took such a turn the last like 40 pages. They ended up, while running away from Adam's house, they found this place called Omega Point that has a bunch of other people with the same kind of abilities that Juliet has. Somebody like electrocutes people when he touches them. Someone else has psychokinesis, like telekinesis, but they used a different word for it. And his name is Mr. Castle. And he literally reminds me of Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. I don't know what it is, but I just get this vibe. But also, this feels like Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It's like all these people who have these abilities who are like ostracized from this reestablishment society, and they're all together and they want to like make the world better. And Adam and James, his little brother, are there, so maybe I do trust Adam now. And obviously James is his actual brother. Like, I'm feeling confident in it. Adam got like, since he was shot, he had to like recover, and he's in the hospital at Omega Point. Juliet finally gets to see him. This is nuts. I'm liking it. It took such a turn the last 40 pages, and now I'm really invested. And also, Mr. Castle said to Juliet that the reestablishment was kind of lying about this dystopian society in order to have power over the society. It's like fake. It's a fake famine that they've created. They actually do have crops, but it's like they're controlling all of the output of it, and they're threatening the farmers and their families to like keep producing these crops, but only for like the military and not for the civilians. And the climate change is actually true. It's kind of bad, but it's not as bleak as everyone originally thought. The reestablishment convinced them that there's nothing they can really do about it, but Mr. Castle was talking about how it's all like man-made problems and they still have time to fix this climate change. It's like hopeful now, which is nice because this was written in 2011 and I was feeling bleak. Mr. Castle is really an advocate for this like off-the-grid living. I guess they have their own means to have food and stuff, and I don't know what exactly their end goal is here. I only have like 20 pages left. It's getting better. It's looking good so far. Yeah, the dystopia was fake. It's sci-fi. The reestablishment is surviving off of the fear of the citizens. This is kind of more what I was expecting from this genre. It just was really fucking weird for the first 280 pages, which is not a good review, because obviously to wait 280 pages until the book actually gets good is disappointing. Kenji can go invisible. He's like a chameleon. Wait, I'm actually like really liking this cast of characters now. I am irritated with Warner. I don't want him. Like, this is too perfect. It's like the cool best friend. We have the sweet boyfriend and the younger brother who's adorable. I don't want anything else, but I know we're gonna get set up for it being like Warner and Juliet, because like the last time she saw him when she was sneaking the gun away from him, she was like, oh, but I like kind of like this. And you know what the author is doing, but it's irritating. I'm kind of back to having a hard time taking it seriously again. We're on the last chapter and we're introduced to this guy named Winston. He's just a regular Elastigirl. He can twist himself into a pretzel. He can wrap his arm around his torso 3 times. Some of this is kind of funny. It's like camp. Okay, we have finished the first Shatter Me book. At the very end, she gets her little super suit.
Where is my super suit?
It's purple. I think I've seen fan art of her in this special super suit, which is pretty cool. A whole cast of like superheroes. I'm getting really into this. And still some weird moments in the writing. The very end, she says, I take big lungfuls of air and savor the taste. These people need some food. They're giving hungry. She's fighting for the right team. She's ready to take on Warner. I'm ready to read the novella. It's going to be from Warner's point of view, I guess. Let's see what is really going on inside his head. This was 3 stars. I know I seemed very excited the last few clips. That's because it got good. But for you to have to wait 280 pages for a book to get decent to read and to be able to ignore all the really, really weird alliteration and metaphors and other strange things is really unfortunate. I would have given it a 2 stars if it wouldn't have improved in the last 40 pages, but luckily it did. I did have a good time. It was quick. It was a fun little read to follow up Throne of Glass with. And tomorrow we're going to start the first novella. Okay, it's the next day. I look considerably more of a mess. My allergies are like killing me right now because it's been raining like crazy in Oklahoma, so the summer heat didn't really get a chance to kill everything. So now the pollen is just a nightmare. I need to brush my hair. Anyways, I'm starting the first novella, Destroy Me, and in the beginning of it, there's some praise from various authors, and you know who praised it? Ransom Riggs, the author of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I said this reminded me a little bit of that series, so that's pretty cool. And it's Warner's point of view. He got shot by Juliet. Yeah, she literally shot him because she tricked him and he's insane. So let's see if this perspective of his presents a persuasive argument in his favor, because I doubt it will. I saw a TikTok last night after finishing the first book about how Warner will never be redeemable to them because he literally made Juliet hurt a child. I can't stop thinking about that now. The girl had a point. We've kind of already established this, but Warner sounds not well in the head. Like, he is so rigid about everything. I have an extremely low threshold for disorder. It offends my very being. I shower regularly. I eat 6 small meals a day. I dedicate 2 hours of each day to training and physical exercise, and I detest being barefoot. Now I find myself standing naked, hungry, tired, and barefoot in my closet. This is not ideal. This guy needs therapy. Warner is so funny. He refuses to drink tea or coffee. He refuses to have like any kind of caffeine. Only an idiot would rely on the energy of a bean or a leaf to stay awake throughout the day. This guy has serious issues. He is full on delusional. He said that Juliet left him for Adam. Left him? They weren't together. What planet is he living on? Okay, so maybe he's redeeming himself a little bit. He has explained that the reason he shot that one guy in the first book is because he was like abusing his wife and children, and he did it because he was like a traitor, but it was kind of like a made up reason. It was because he wanted to save like the wife and kids. But then Warner's father ended up showing up and killing the entire family anyways, like the wife and kids who Warner was trying to save, because he said, oh, a traitor comes from a traitorous family, so you have to like kill all of them. So it was like, what was the point? And now Warner is like sitting in this self-loathing because of it, which is fair. I mean, there had to have been a different way. Why is he so quick to make stupid decisions? Okay, I took a Benadryl, so I'm gonna have to make this fast before I like collapse. But I finished the novella, and Warner is definitely delusional as hell. But you know, we have father entering, and it's giving daddy issues. You know, he was touchy about his mother. We're seeing some character development, touchy about his mother because his dad is was awful probably. He might have shot that one soldier for the sake of his family and wife because he like saw himself in that kind of situation. I feel like that's where it's going with it. But yeah, his father showed up on base and is like very disappointed in him because he like isn't ruthless enough. It's giving Prigozhin and Putin. They should just destroy each other. No, but like his father's trying to convince him they need to kill Juliet now because she's like too much hassle than what she's actually worth to the reestablishment. Warner obviously doesn't want to do that because he's in love with her. He is so delusional. He found Juliet's notebook. She left it there, I guess, and he was looking through it and was like, it feels like I'm welcome in her thoughts. Like he's fully constructing this idea of her in his head and falling in love with it and like tricking himself into thinking it's like reality. Like he's truly so twisted, and it's interesting to see where this could go. I feel manipulated by him. I feel like I understand him a little more. Obviously, when you introduce the father, who is like the new, even bigger and badder villain than Warner, yeah, he becomes like not the antagonist anymore. The antagonist is now his father, who's like trash, and oh, we understand his backstory now, and he obviously has issues with abuse in his family. I feel manipulated, but tomorrow I'm gonna start Unravel Me, I think it is. It has come to my attention that I have been deceived. So I just read a review that the child that Warner was getting Juliet to harm was actually a simulation. There's a bunch of stuff about simulations in this novella, but now I just feel like so, I get it now. I guess he can redeem himself because I was literally tricked in the first book. I'm kind of interested in that. But yeah, at first I was like, oh my god, I feel so manipulated. And then I realized that that child thing was actually a simulation. And at the end of the book, they were really just driving it home like, this is our protagonist, this is our main hero, when he like saw a bunch of kids playing and felt bad for them that they like have found happiness in this horrible situation of the reestablishment. He's like kind of against his dad but doesn't know how to stand up to him, I guess, probably because he has a history of abuse. But yeah, he felt bad for the kids and was like, how can they find happiness in a time like this? Like if only they'd have known what it was like just like 15 years ago, how much better everything was before my father took over. And then he plays with a dog and gives it a pastry. You have him playing with a dog at the end? Well, of course, we're all going to be switching over to Warner's side now. Well played. Well played. Okay, so it's the next day, and I haven't been updating. I did an oil treatment on my hair. That's why I look greasy. It's gonna get washed momentarily. Princess, will you please be quiet? I'm talking about a book. So I just hit the 60-page mark of Unravel Me. Yeah, the second full-length, thanks, Princess. The second full-length novel, and it's a lot, it's like slower. Warner's not here, which is nice, because he was just really pissing me off from Juliet's point of view. They're doing testing on Adam and trying to figure out like why he can touch her and not die, and it's really dragging it out, like exactly why, and I just have to keep going, I guess. Not much is happening, it's just a lot of confusion. That's why I haven't updated the whole time I've been reading, but I'm gonna keep going. I hope to get to the halfway points by today, and tomorrow I plan to finish this as well as the second novella. This is kind of an interesting vibe. My mouth tastes like death. Me when I take like a 10-hour death nap without brushing my teeth. Juliet reminds me of Bella Swan. Am I the only one? I fell asleep last night and I forgot to update, but we kind of got some answers finally. I'm at this point not even halfway through. Basically, Adam is not really immune. He has a power, that's why he's at Omega points, and that power is that he can deter other people's powers. So he's deterring Juliet's like death touch, and that's something that really drains him and exhausts him, so Juliet feels bad. So it seems like they broke up. Like he was trying to stay with her and she was like, I can't put you through this, and then they ended up like touching, and then he ended up in the hospital of the Omega Point place. So like logistically, practically, this is not something that's gonna work. So I guess this is a good setup to now enter Warner, who is, I'm assuming, truly immune, I guess. I don't know. We don't understand how he's able to touch her either. So I'm hoping we get some answers by the end of this book. I want to know what makes him different from Adam. There's this quote, men with guns have never put me at ease, no matter how many times they promised they were killing for good reason. Oh my god, tell that to the South. So since Unravel Me is from Juliet's point of view, we see that she actually saw him playing with that dog and looking at the children, like thinking about how they're not gonna have a childhood like he had because of the reestablishment, even though that's his literal father. So now she's getting like a soft spot for him because she witnessed him with a dog, but he doesn't know she was watching because she was in disguise. I'm seeing it now. Okay, fine. I love Kenji. He calls Juliet a dumbass. And she said, I know, I'm so sorry, I couldn't help it. He said, well, help it. Oh god. We've got a random strike through above the page. That hasn't happened yet. Also, this countdown is like anxiety inducing. I'm this far in. I hope to finish today. So Juliet was basically convinced to go back to like, sorry, my mom is sick and she's blowing her nose to the extremes right now. That'd be so funny if you guys can hear that. Juliet was basically convinced to go back to where Warner and his father is and like take back some of Omega Point's people who are being held hostage. So Juliet was convinced to go get back some hostages that Warner's father took from Omega Point. She comes face to face with Warner's father, finds out his name, finds out like more about their relationship. Warner's father has this crazy kerfuffle, is that the right word, with his son Warner. Explains how his last name is Anderson, but Warner's last name is Warner. His first name is Aaron, by the way. He took his mother's last name and how it's like he's always letting his emotions get in the way and he needs to kill Juliet because Juliet is such a distraction to him and like his son is just not up to his standards or whatever. So they get into like a fight, like a physical fight, and Warner obviously was shot by Juliet, so he's injured. His father's twisting his arm back. Warner starts bleeding. Juliet picks up the gun and points it at Warner's dad. And that's where I'm leaving off right now. Adam and Warner are brothers. That's why they both are immune to Juliet. Sorry for my sheet marks. I fell asleep. But not because this is boring, just because I'm exhausted. It's like getting crazy. It's turning into like a dystopian soap opera. There's still not much romance happening, but man, there is some drama. So if like they're half brothers, because it was discovered when Adam saw Warner's dad's unconscious body when Juliet like almost killed him. She didn't actually shoot him, she almost did. And he saw his body, he was like, that's my dad. He was told that his dad was dead. So it turns out Warner and Adam are half brothers. I guess they have different moms. So why is one so goddamn short and the other's no, obviously they're only half related, so maybe Adam gets his height from his mother's side. That's where I get mine. So that's interesting. Sorry, my cat is very talkative today. I was gonna say something else. Oh, so that's how they ended up getting a Warner. Like that's how I think the whole romance is gonna start between him and Juliet, because she ended things with Adam because it's like his immunity is because he's just defending himself from her and like draining himself. Well, I don't see how that's not gonna be the case for Warner since they're related. Like that seems to be the uniting thread or whatever. So Warner / Adam's dad was unconscious, so they like kidnapped Warner and left the unconscious dad body like at the base or whatever. They still haven't gotten their hostages back. So now Castle, the main guy at Omega Point who like runs that shit, is asking Juliet to like interrogate Warner because he has such an interest in her, and Juliet is like, oh my god, like she's nervous, she doesn't want to do it, but she knows she should because he might be open only with her, and they need to figure out where their hostages are. But now they have their own hostage and it's Warner, but he doesn't seem to like his father, so this should be interesting. I was not expecting this to be another two brothers, one girl love triangle. That's what I just read last summer and vlogged for the summer I turned pretty, except this is like the summer I turned undeadly. I don't know. It's kind of funny. If they do the one bed trope that they did in, I think it was the second book of The Summer I Turned Pretty, I'm gonna lose my shit. But yeah, the drama is drama-ing. Okay, it's the next day. I didn't read nearly as much as I wanted to yesterday because I was too busy having a mental breakdown. Not like a mental breakdown, but I was just so anxious about like everything that I didn't read as much as I wanted to, and I hate that because reading makes me feel better. Anyways, so it's been a lot of this going on. A lot of drama. Kenji got hurt by like Adam and Warner, and they like Adam and Aaron, I guess, got into a physical altercation. Kenji ended up getting hurt. And then Juliet discovers that the reason Warner can touch her is because, yeah, okay, so he's related to Adam and they have like similar abilities, but it's different in the sense that Adam is like disabling her power and like defending himself from her. So it's like very draining for him. Meanwhile, we have Warner over here and Juliet's power essentially just like goes through him and like strengthens him. And she's pissed. She said, this makes everything so confusing. I can't touch the boy I love, but I can use my touch to strengthen the boy who tried to kill the one I love. This poor girl. Oh my god. But, I mean, things are kind of happening here. We have less than 100 pages left, and there's no, like, it's not, like, fast romance, but you can see they're kind of forming more of a friendship connection. Warner and Juliet, I mean. So, yeah, she doesn't refer to him as Aaron, even though she knows his first name at this point. Like, I guess he's just forever going to be known by his last name, which is weird. Especially if they're going to end up, like, together. You're just going to call your boyfriend by his last name? Okay, hopefully I finish this morning. This is not, like, fully spicy, but Jesus Christ. This is crazy. She just let Warner into her room because her two roommates, who Sonia and Sarah, I think their names are. I think they're twins. They're like in the medical wing. I think they're helping Kenji because their gift is like healing or something. So Warner came to her and is like, you should run away with me. I guess he doesn't actually want to help the Omega Point. I don't know what the hell he wants. At first he seemed like maybe he would be kind of helpful, but now he oh my god, this scene, this chapter is so freaking long, and it's just like pages and pages of things happening, a lot of kissing and a lot of like details. This is crazy the way it's written, but it's not Spice. Okay, so she just remembered Adam in the middle of making out with Warner. Aaron, he asks her to call him Aaron from now on, and that's when it like clicks. She's like, Adam, and pushes him away.
Adam!
It's giving dystopian The Summer I Turned Pretty again, because there's like two brothers, but like they actually hate each other, and it's not like just innocent brother rivalry. Warner says something so funny. He says, I'm not gonna be your clown. I will not allow you to make a mockery of my feelings for you. I could respect your decision to shoot me, Juliet, but doing this, doing what you just did, so like saying she's not in love with him, he's like, I can excuse you shooting me, but saying you're not in love with me, now that I can't. Okay, she like cooks his ass, which is good. We like that. I have about 50 pages left, and I just gotta say, the melodrama is insane. I think I'm like looking past it a little bit more now because I'm getting more used to the writing style, but I do think the writing style is a little bit better than the first book. Either that or I'm just becoming more used to it, because Throne of Glass was like beautiful, even if it was like at times hard to follow or like a little bit slow on occasion. This is so fast and crazy, but god, it can be cringe on occasion. Like the dialogue and some of the like flowery language that feels like it's like trying a little bit too hard. It has its moments. So the cast of characters from Omega Point go out to stop Warner's dad, Anderson, from massacring a bunch of people with his army, and basically Juliet gets kidnapped. Now she's like one of the hostages, because they're still looking for those two hostages. They took Warner to try to get information. He didn't know anything because his dad hates him. Warner ended up escaping, so it's like so much running in circles for nothing. Anderson kidnapped Juliet, and she didn't get a chance to like kill him yet, I guess, and now he's like monologuing as those like criminal men do. God, my eyes are so red, I need to take my contacts out. And he's so disgusting. He said, like, this is a lovely little house, isn't it? It turned out to be the ideal place to store my wife. I don't know. Any boy raised by a man like this is like kind of terrifying. Just the idea of that. Anderson kidnapped her because he's saying Juliet shot him. I don't remember Juliet shooting him. No, wasn't it Kenji or like Adam or something? Because she shot Warner, and then, oh god, I can't even remember exactly what happened. I know she shot Warner, but I didn't think she shot his dad too. I don't think she did. Anyways, he's accusing her of shooting him, managing to overpower him, and kidnapping his son. You did this to me. He cuts me off, and now I want compensation. Compensation? Financial compensation? If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. You're supposed to say, I want revenge. This guy is so weird. His monologues suck. He's not a good villain. Okay, so he also kidnapped Sonia and Sarah because he wanted to heal himself since he thought Juliet shot him. But really, it wasn't Juliet. It was Kenji and Adam. So he kidnapped them as well. And then he ends up just shooting Juliet randomly. And it was like, bam, bam, bam. Like the last few chapters were crazy. Warner shows up and Sonia and Sarah show up after Juliet gets shot. Anderson flees, and Warner convinces Sonia and Sarah to grab his arm so he can like transfer their healing powers into Juliet, since obviously Sonia and Sarah can't touch Juliet without like dying. It's intense, it's dramatic, and we are done. And the last sentence is, mass chaos is in my future and I'm leaving my gloves behind. The gloves are off. I thought they were off last time. I feel like it ended similarly. The last full-length book, the first full-length book, I guess. It was more dramatic. I think a little bit better writing, or maybe, as I said, I'm just getting more used to it. It was fine. I don't know. This was like another probably 3-star, maybe 3.5 stars. It was enjoyable, but not like amazing. Now we have another novella after this. I'm eating some lo mein and reading Fracture Me. So this one is entirely from Adam's point of view, and it's less than 100 pages, so it shouldn't take too long. But it kind of flashes to the morning after Juliet and Warner make out, and Juliet was like, Adam! In the middle of it. So he's trying to like connect with her, he's eating breakfast with her, and she's like frazzled, and I feel like there's gonna be a confrontation in a second. So this novella pretty much goes through exactly what happened at the end of the last book, just from Adam's point of view. And we get to the part where Juliet gets kidnapped. So obviously we didn't see what was happening with Adam when she got kidnapped. Basically, Anderson said he's going to like bomb Omega Point. They were able to torture the information out of some of the people who were fighting his soldiers. And James is left there. So this book really just explores kind of that sibling relationship between James and Adam, I think. And it's very cute. It's precious. And it makes me want to be Team Adam because he cares for his brother so much. Like, that's an attractive trait in a boyfriend. And Warner is just, God, he's so rigid. I was thinking back to his novella from his point of view, and like, I don't really like being inside his head. Men like that are not ideal. But like men who have really good relationships with their siblings, she's making me Team Adam. I don't think she's intending for me to be Team Adam, but I kind of am. He's a little boring though, I'm not gonna lie, just as a character. I think though, if this was a real life situation, if Adam was like a fully fleshed out human being, yeah, I would be 100% Team Adam. I wouldn't be like, oh, he's the better guy, but he's like not as interesting as Warner. It's obviously gonna be Warner. So they bombed Omega Point, and James was there, and Adam and Kenji were like racing back to save him, and they saw the bombs falling and they knew it was too late. And then James was like standing outside the car because he left because he wanted to help Adam fight, and like was brave enough as a 10-year-old boy to risk his life, but it ended up saving his life because he got out of the place that they were bombing. Oh my God. And Adam was apologizing. He doesn't understand that that was like the best thing he could have done for himself. But what about everybody else who was in Omega Point? Are they dead? Okay, so Adam does prioritize his brother over Juliet. He doesn't want to go rescue her and leave his brother alone again. He does not want to be separated from James. So I kind of see how he has a lot of obligations. He has other priorities, which sounds bad, but like, it just feels kind of shitty because Kenji was like, what are you talking about? Stay here. Like, we need to go save her. And Kenji's literally just her friend, but Adam is supposedly in love with her and he doesn't want to leave James. So it's like, I kind of see the dynamic they're creating here. Maybe Adam will just be a good character to look at as far as this like brotherly sibling relationship goes, probably. Yep, he's starting to feel salty for Juliet like leaving him, kind of. But she did it to protect him. Like, I don't think he should be. It's not because she wasn't in love with him. Ooh, but if he knew she made out with Warner, even if she was like, Adam, in the middle of it. Yeah, he's saying another mission, which means another chance to screw everything up and get ourselves killed. And then if we're successful, we're rewarded with more running, more instability, more chaos. I close my eyes. I love Juliet. I really do. I want to help her and support her and be there for her. I want us to have a future together, but sometimes I wonder if it's ever going to happen. This isn't easy to admit, but part of me doesn't want to put James at risk again, on the run again for a girl who broke up with me, a girl who walked away from us. I don't know what the right thing is anymore. I don't know if my allegiance is to James or Juliet. I mean, it's gotta be to his brother. Okay, there's just one more chapter left. Oh shit! So the last chapter is him finding out that it was actually Anderson who kidnapped Juliet and not Warner, and that's why he wanted to go after James to save him instead of Juliet, because he was under the impression that Warner took her, and Warner is like weirdly in love with her, so he was like, she'll probably be fine, but it was actually Anderson. And then they have misinformation. They think Anderson actually killed Juliet, and now Adam seems like he's frozen in horror, grief, and he's like, Juliet is dead because of me. And Kenji is taking it so hard. He's like, God, I wanted to go after her. We should have gone after her. This is my fault. I should have gone after her. I should have tried to find her. I should have stayed behind. And he's fighting back tears, and Adam seems just kind of like shell-shocked. Like, we just saw him a few chapters ago thinking that James was dead and like his whole world came crashing down, but like he doesn't seem to care that much that Juliet is dead, even though she's literally still alive. It's just they have misinformation, and that's how it ends. The last line is literally, Juliet is dead because of me. And then it goes into Juliet's journal, which I think is what Warner had been reading before he came to Omega Point. Oh, I think these are just pages from like the original books, because this page was part of like one of the earlier chapters of the very first book. I'm not insane, I'm not insane, I'm not insane. I guess I'll like skim it, but yeah, Adam's POV, 3 out of 5. Every single book in this series has been 3 out of 5 so far. It's like fine, there are some things I enjoy, but overall it's like not something that's gonna stick with me in a few months. So I saw some criticisms of Adam, like from the last book I was reading reviews, where he thinks Juliet is like weak, and Warner over here, yeah, I see the difference. He thinks she's like the most powerful, like insane, inhuman thing to ever exist. And she's like, I'm going to destroy the reestablishment and I'm going to kill your father. And Warner's laughing, and she's like, no, that's what I'm gonna do. And he's like, I know. And she's like, why are you laughing at me? And he said, I'm not. He says softly, I'm only wondering, he says, if you would like my help. Like, he wants to join her and like is asking permission to fight alongside her when Adam was like always trying to protect her from things, but like not completely obviously, because he literally left her in Anderson's clutches, so he's trying to prevent her from fighting. It's not like he's actually trying to protect her. Here we go, baby. What are you talking about? You told me yourself you wanted me to torture innocent people. I lied. He shrugs. I love the simplicity of that. I lied. Like, I like him now. My mouth has fallen open. There are 3 things you should know about me, love. The first is that I hate my father more than you might ever be capable of understanding. He clears his throat. Oh my god. Second, I'm in love with him. Second is that I am an unapologetically selfish person who in almost every situation makes decisions based entirely on self-interest. And third, the pauses he looks down, laughs a little. I never had any intention of using you as a weapon. Words have failed me. She's speechless! That was an elaborate scheme I designed entirely for my father's benefit. I had to convince him it would be a good idea to invest in someone like you that we might utilize you for military gain. And to be quite honest, I'm still not sure how I managed it. The idea is ludicrous to spend all that time, money, and energy on reforming a supposedly psychotic girl just for the sake of torture. He shakes his head. I knew from the beginning it would be a fruitless endeavor, a complete waste of time. There are far more effective methods of extracting information from the unwilling. Wait, I wanted to study you. Hold on. Okay, plot twist. Warner was interested in Juliet because he thinks she can help his mother because she can't be touched. That's her illness. Anderson was talking about how like, oh, she's sick, she doesn't do well in the compounds, whatever, and like doesn't seem to like his wife very much. This does kind of feel like he's using Juliet though, maybe not as a weapon, but like, I don't know, he's gonna prioritize his mother over her just like Adam prioritized his brother over Juliet. She can't even touch herself. Like when she shifts positions or brushes her hand against her own skin, it's painful in the same way that when Juliet touches someone is. That's insane. Also, what an interesting metaphor for like chronic pain. Okay, now he's doing what Adam was doing. He's calling her a child, like saying she acts like a child. Like this weird infantilizing that I'm seeing with both of these men. I better see reviews calling him out for this. If people are gonna yell at Adam about doing the same thing, just to a more severe extent, I think. Yeah, he's still not the vibes. You must have an absurdly low opinion of me if you think I would steal someone's child just to watch you torture it. He refers to the child as an it. So he's apologizing for making her do that simulation where she had to choose between like hurting a child one way or another. And she's calling him a terrible person. She's not happy about this. And he's like, please, I'm sorry for hurting you, but I really think it was worth it. Like, he's just stripping her of her autonomy completely. Just like Adam, he's a control freak. He literally locked her in this room and said like, wait here, I'll get you something to eat, after like stealing her diary again and saying I wasn't finished reading that. And she's like, I don't want you to read it, I'm not comfortable with that. And he just ignores her and he's so condescending. Okay, we're seeing Juliet actually really developing more than any other character. I have such a strange broken piece of hair here. Anyway, I kind of understood why Adam was like infantilizing her a little bit because like she didn't know any of that even existed. She was like the newest person to the resistance. Obviously she needs time to learn the ropes to become accustomed to training. She had literally no experience, no understanding of how to use her power, but now she's finally like mentally there, ready to actually fight and not sit back. And like how he was trying to protect her from like fighting the soldiers when they stopped them from like massacring the civilians, and he was like, Juliet should stay back or whatever. There was a reason behind that, and that reason is like crumbling now because Juliet's like, I should actually be the one that's leading the resistance. I'm the most powerful, I have the least to lose, I'm not afraid of anything anymore. Like mentally she's just becoming so much more confident. Oh my god, it's such a 2010s relic. Okay, cool story, bro. Oh my god. If I go to war, if I risk my life, it's going to be because the odds are in my favor, not otherwise. Hunger Games reference. So I'm about to listen to the audiobook while I take a shower because I'm like so behind. I have things to do and I could be like listening while I do them, so I'm just gonna do that. Anyways, Adam just like completely kicked Juliet out of his house. He's so pissed that Warner wants to like help them take down the reestablishment. Adam's convinced Warner can't be trusted. I mean, Warner did try to kill Adam, but the fact that he's taking it out on Juliet is like disgusting me. Like he's irredeemable after this point. How could anyone be Team Adam after this book? What is wrong with him? Why is he losing his mind and taking it out on her? If you don't like the guy, well, he did try to fight him and that didn't work out so well. But yeah, and then Warner's getting sassy. Oh my god, he had this quote that was like, do you ever get tired of being so like insufferable or exhausting all the time? You have as much charisma as the rotting innards of unidentified roadkill. He called him wholly insufferable. That's what it was. I just found the quote. I don't like Adam. Yeah, he freaking kicked her out. And Kenji is trying to get him to see straight and he's like being crazy and he doesn't want to listen to Kenji. It's kind of sad. Like Kenji's so nice. I honestly was like kind of shipping Juliet and Kenji a little bit. They had this moment on like a rooftop, I think it was, and he like pulled her to him and she like laid her head on his chest and it was like a moment. Oh my god, but they were teasing each other. It's obviously like a friendly relationship, but it was just like physical, close proximity. So I was getting a little delulu. It's gonna be Warner, but like Kenji, oh my god. He's probably the best guy in this book series. I hope he gets his own love interest, please. He's lonely. Yeah, Adam went full, like, marriage story. Sorry, I have my retainers in now. Like, I wish you were dead. It hurt less when you were dead, as opposed to potentially being in love with Warner. And that's just so fucked. Obviously, that means you don't actually love someone if you're like, okay, saying you in love with someone else is, like, not good in any capacity. I'd rather you be dead. Obviously, you don't love that person. But also, people are calling him crazy. I mean, yeah, he's saying crazy things to her and trying to kick her out and, like, not acting logically. But he's like, I know she's in love with Warner and she's still kind of in denial. She doesn't know that she is yet. And everyone's like, you're being insane. Nothing's really going on between them. And I mean, he's right. Like, he was like, she used to look at me the way she looks at him. And I mean, yeah, they're gonna fall in love. Like, he's predicting it and they're all calling him crazy. So like, they're all kind of ganging up against him. I mean, he needs to calm down, but like, he's not being that crazy. Adam's little brother is seriously acting better than Adam. He literally was like, Juliet, I don't want you to die. I don't care what Adam is saying. Like, that's not what I want. And that's just messed up that his little brother is more emotionally regulated than him. This kid's 10. Adam is, what is he, 18 or 19? Okay, so I about finished Ignite Me in the shower and I have this much left and I have thoughts. I say shower because it was an audiobook. I wasn't like a physical copy in the shower. I took a major death nap. That's why I look kind of rough and just haven't updated in like something like 24 hours. But basically more drama with Adam and him going insane. Warner, I'm a Warner girly. I am a Warner girly. It did not take long. I wrote out some thoughts to make sure I remembered what I wanted to say. I said Adam might even have a chance if he wasn't so jealous and crazy. Like, Warner is so tumultuous and controlling. If Adam just thought a little more highly of Juliet, she wouldn't have a problem with him and he could just wait out this thing that she has going on with Warner. Because let's be honest, I don't feel like that's built to last. They're teenagers, first of all, but he's just so rigid and she's a really powerful, strong person. He does view her as that, but I think after a while it'll be like a lot of heads butting. Adam just completely was destroying any chance he could possibly have. The self-sabotage, saying he never wants to see her again. Like, he never loved her. And Juliet has this revelation a little later on where she's like, Warner literally saved my life, knowing that I would probably go back to Adam afterwards, and like still did it because he actually did care about her, regardless of who she ends up with romantically. Just saying. And Adam's pissed because Juliet literally just wants to overthrow the reestablishment and he's like so comfortable with the reestablishment and was just against her. Like, that's the root of the issue. He wants to run from it. He needs to grow a backbone. I think he's just completely driving her into Warner's arms. I don't think she would be as receptive to Warner's love that he has for her and has since like the day he met her if Adam didn't like push her into his arms. Like, he was being so hateful. And then I was fangirling so hard. I was like in the shower, like I want to kick my feet so bad right now and like giggle. This has been the best book so far. I'm really becoming a Warner girly. I like the way the characters interact with each other. There was a whole moment where Kenji and all the other people from Omega Point were all having this like funny conversation and it's just, oh my god, the character dynamics, everyone is developing so much. Adam for the worse. But so Adam kicked her out and Juliet was like, I don't know how to do this without my friends. And Warner like doesn't care about her friends at all. He just wants to take down his father with Juliet. But he's like, we can invite all your friends to come stay with me at my house so that we can all overthrow the reestablishment together. He just like compromised with her and just agreed to like house them. Like, he's giving them free room and board because she can't stay with them since Adam kicked her out. And it's just like so shady and funny. And I was thinking like, oh my god, is James gonna go? Because Kenji's close to James. And if Kenji goes, I could see him wanting to take James. That ended up not actually happening. James stayed with Adam, but Kenji was missing James so much and like feeling concerned about Adam. Meanwhile, Adam was really struggling to even feed James. Their electricity was about to be turned off. So Kenji called Adam and said, Juliet misses you so much. She wants you back. She's crying all the time. And that's how he got Adam and James to come to Warner's house. Oh my god, it's just ridiculous. And then Juliet had to like break up with him a third time and she was like yelling at Kenji when she found out. And Kenji was like, I'm sorry, I'll fix this. And he basically told Adam right when he shut up, hey, I lied to you. But Juliet still had to confront him because Kenji didn't tell her that he cleared up everything for her. So that was really dramatic. And he got so mean again. He was just like hurling insults at her, which is so fucked because it's like, she's literally letting you stay here. Like, if she didn't want you here, she could just say the word and Warner would kick you out. But yeah, he was like doing it for James or whatever. James and Warner are also brothers. Like when we found out Adam and Warner are brothers, that means James and Warner are brothers, and oh my god, they've been having some interactions, and like James keeps asking Warner all these crazy questions that everyone are thinking but are too intimidated to ask Warner, and it's like such a cool dynamic that's growing. They'll eventually find out they're related, but that's pretty much what's been happening so far. And on the chapter I'm on now, Warner's mother died. She was like locked up in that house because she has that issue where she cannot be touched, or she experiences crazy intense pain, much like how when Juliet touches someone, that's what happens to them, except it's like herself. Whenever she touches her own skin, it's like excruciating for her. So she freaking died. All the machines were turned off. Warner went to go visit her on her birthday and she just like wasn't there. And Juliet went after him because he was taking a long time to come back, and found that that room was completely empty and Warner was on the ground just like crying. And the developments, I don't know, he's like kind of a soft boy now. I am a Warner truther believer, and Kenji discovers that Warner had this soft spot for his mom. He never even realized Warner was close with his mom, so Kenji's like, oh shit, I had no idea. And Juliet was like, well, you weren't supposed to. But yeah, I have suspicions about that. I think his dad's responsible. I don't know if that's true or not, but for all the machines to be turned off, for her to not even be there anymore, someone found her and took her out, obviously. It had to have been his father, his piece of shit Anderson father. So yeah, we have about 100 pages left. I'm gonna finish this today. It's so good. I'm really liking the series so far. This might be the first 4-star book. All of them so far have been 3. And then we will start Restore Me. From my understanding, this was the initial finale to the series. It was supposed to be a trilogy. Yeah, praise for the Shatter Me trilogy. So I'm curious to see how she keeps it going, because she stopped writing for like 4 years or something. Hopefully it doesn't get bogged down with like excess books, because there's a few more in my stack over there. There's like 2 more. That's a lot. 2 more full-length books, not even novellas. Okay, I trust you, Tahira Mafi. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Let's finish Ignite Me. So Adam figured out how to like completely block off Juliet's power so he's able to touch her and it's not like draining and hurting him. And he's like, see, if you would have just waited, we could have been together. And she's like, the only proof this shows is that you're really good at turning me off. Oh my god, the savagery. I'm here for it though. Okay, I finished the audiobook while I was in the shower. I have my retainer in, so if I sound insane, that's why. I'm like looking through the physical copy right now to make sure I didn't miss anything. Basically, Warner knows Adam and James are his brothers, and he's like happy about it. He's like, oh my god, I've never had people before. And now he understands why Adam has like anger issues. And even though like Juliet doesn't completely understand it, like Warner wants to be friendlier with Adam than Juliet wants to be. He like wants to get to know them, especially James. I think he was a little bit mad at Juliet for not telling him, but I think he got over it because he was just too excited. But he's not like admitting it. She was like, are you happy about this? And he was like, well, I'm not unhappy. And then basically the only other major thing that happened was like they rallied Sector 45 soldiers together. Warner took Juliet to that base to inspire them and tell them like, hey, you guys are like living paycheck to paycheck, like the reestablishment is doing nothing for you, like join me. So Anderson shows up with like his soldiers and they have this whole war, and Juliet confronts Anderson, Warner's dad, and shoots him twice. Once for Adam, once for Warner. And I love that. I love that that's just chapter 74, just that. That's all it needs to be. This is the end of the original trilogy, I guess, and it wraps it up so well. Like, I don't understand how you can go from here. It better not get stale after this, because there's a few more books left. So she decides she's going to take over the whole thing. I will lead this nation. I challenge anyone who would stand against me. Are there people who are going to stand against her? Is it going to be like the chaos that comes with kind of creating a power vacuum? Because this girl's 17. Like, let's be real. And ideally, every nation would have their own leader instead of just the one. Isn't that the whole problem originally of the reestablishment? Juliet learns how to control her power. I forgot to talk about that. And she says this means that she doesn't have to be with someone by default, because now she can touch people without hurting them. It took so many books for her to figure that out. And so it's like she could be with Adam. You know, they broke up because of that, but like, obviously they want completely different things. It's not meant to be. It's interesting how that worked out. But it's nice because I kept thinking, like in the earlier books of the series, I was like, so wait, whoever is her like true love would have to be somebody who is immune to her, and that like is such a narrow pool. And she was so happy about it, like mostly because she doesn't have to be with someone by default now, like someone who's strong enough or who has a power that can deter hers. Like she can choose whoever she wants. It's gonna be Warner, who already was immune anyways, but like whatever. Kenji's amazing as always and funny. There was a little more steamy scenes, much like the other one I was talking about, the one I was like kicking my feet in the bathtub too. But also there was one before that in an earlier book that was like pages and pages. Yeah, I was talking about that too. So it ends with Warner saying, you know, the whole world will be coming for us now. I lean back, look into his eyes. I can't wait to watch them try. So will there be more political unrest, instability? Is this a 4-star? I feel like it's 3.5, but I don't like to actually rate things with half stars because I track all my ratings on Goodreads and obviously I wouldn't be able to remember what I've given a half star to. So I need to decide if it's 3 or 4. It's pretty good. It's the best one so far. Or were the first couple ones like 2 stars and this one 3? No, because I didn't dislike them. Anything below 3 is like I wasn't really into it, and I was into it, but it was just like average. But this is like, I feel like it's such a solid 3.5 that I can't pick. I don't know, do I round down or do I round up? I might go with 3-star for now, just in case it gets even better, because I've heard that it does. We'll see how I feel at the end though. Okay, so this is the end of part 1. This video was just getting way too long, so part 2 will be up on Wednesday. So as always, thank you for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of these first few books in the series. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. If you want to follow me on my Instagram, it is right here. And if you want to follow me on my TikTok, that is right here. I will see you all on Wednesday for part 2 of this reading vlog. And I hope you have an amazing day. Bye guys. I know